Hi everyone. So I'm Matt Pacheco, Bengie's youngest brother. First or second favorite. Either one's a good choice. When I was asked to deliver this eulogy, I was honored and humbled to be able to share the life of my brother Bengie. See, my brother Bengie was so thoughtful that he didn't want all of you to get antsy. So him and Barb requested that we gather as an immediate family and we share each other's stories. They asked my wife Teresa to compile these. And they asked me to deliver it with you. See, he knew that our family really liked to talk. So you'll have that opportunity. Immediately after all the services today, we will have a reception. And there will be an open mic session, so you can share your stories too. However, for now, this is a compilation of what my brother meant to our family from the words of all of us. And after I'm done today, we'll have a slideshow. It's about 25 minutes long. It'll go quick, trust me. It is just a short portrayal of some of the things that he accomplished and shared in his life. Don't cry for me. Instead, celebrate life. These are the words that my brother Bengie shared with my brother Josh shortly before he passed. He wanted us to celebrate life. When he was diagnosed with ALS, he told our family, I'm going to be like Uncle Abe, and I'm going to smile until I'm gone. And I'll never complain. He exemplified the spirit of gratitude, even when faced with a struggle beyond comprehension. In Romans 15:13 it says, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope, and by the power of the Holy Spirit. Bengie was a true example of someone who knew how to find joy in all things. And he showed this in how he lived his life. Bengie always wanted to have a good time. When he was a child, and the family would travel to Ocotillo, New Mexico, there was no TV, there's no radio, and none of that stopped him from having fun. He and our sister Paula and the cousins would play in that red dirt all the way down by the creek and all over the property. And they'd never get bored. He'd shout things like, we're going to climb that mountain. And they'd find joy in all those moments. See, Bengie knew how to make others feel loved. He taught his children how to handle angry drivers by, instead of throwing the finger, he taught them to blow kisses. See, he wasn't going to let others' anger affect him. He was going to spread joy to whomever and wherever he could. He often did this by waving at drivers, sometimes to lift up their spirits, and other times just to get a rise out of them. See, he loved their reactions. Depending on how they acted, he might say something like, this guy's never been waved at before. When his disease progressed to the point where he could no longer function with his arms and lift them above his chest, he wasn't able to wave, so he started making silly faces. See, this brought joy to the people around. And even in his final days, when he found the way to spread joy, when he could move his arms or speak anymore, he did it through a wink. This was a way that he could still show us how much we meant to him and how much he loved us. Bengie had such a big heart. He used to be the wildlife coordinator over at his work at the airport. His heart for animals was big. Some of you know he had a lot of dogs over the years. And these animals even came into birds. One time we were golfing, my mom, my dad, and I, and my wife. And Bengie hit a ball, a really bad slice, right into a tree. And as we went over, there was a dead bird. And our dad told him, Bengie, you killed it! And as he sat there, distraught, not sure if it was true or not, my dad finally let him know, oh, the bird was dead. His heart was so big. And as you can tell, we're so many are gathered here today. Bengie never met a stranger. If we were in public, he couldn't go more than 5 feet without running into someone who knew him. That could be partly because Bengie liked to stand out. Family calls it being extra. We found out that this being extra started in his infancy. When he was born June 24th, 1969, the nurses jokingly brought him to my mother, covered in a pink blanket, asking, "Do you know whose baby this is?" As his hair was pushed up like a Gerber baby, she said, of course she knows it's his. Of course, that's mine, even in the pink blanket. Now, that's why he said real men wear pink. He had a great sense of fashion. He was quite the fashionista, as the family would say. It started at his early age. Even when he was a chubby toddler, he'd wear his cowboy boots, his swimming trunks, and his little fringed leather vest. He'd sport it with such confidence and style. At our parents' 50th wedding anniversary, he was so proud to show us his awesome red jacket. It was so awesome, it was kudos nice. When he put it on, it made him light up, and it made all of us light up around him. Bengie also loved to color coordinate. He was the one who actually made him and Barb always wear the same thing. He would go so far as to pick out his shirt and take it to the store and ask the clerk, "Pick something to match this for my wife." He knew what it meant to walk in step with your spouse. He took this to a whole other level with Barb. When he'd be walking hand in hand, he would even shuffle his feet and skip so that way he could get in the same step as her. And sometimes Barb would playfully jump to the other step. He really loved his amazing, beautiful wife, Barb, or Baza, as we like to call her. This was because of their wedding invitations. The R's looked a little like Z's. This name has stuck a little bit. Our family is so thankful for Barb. As a trained nurse, she was able to give our brother Bengie the love and tender care that he needed. And this wasn't the way that Barb expected to spend the last 10 years of her life with her brother Bengie. But she was there for him, by his side, all the way to his last breath. The Bible tells us, "Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourself." Romans 12:10. Barb has been a true example of someone that has stood by her man, and we are so thankful for her. Now, Barb didn't like to receive flowers, and Bengie knew this about her. But one time, our brother, in his playful nature, showed up with his arm behind his back, saying, "Barb, I got you flowers." And as she said, "No, you didn't." He reaches back with a can of paint from Home Depot. And he knew that's what she really wanted. He so knew her heart. A lot of this was thanks to all the time that they spent together, having all of their adventures. They were always going somewhere. These adventures led Bengie to getting his amazing prized pearl white truck. It was a little extra. He would haul jet skis and campers and cooking discos and whatever he needed to wherever it needed to go. But also, he used this truck and him to bless others. We've heard so many stories of Bengie helping people move this or that, and always being willing to give that lending hand. There wasn't a bad bone in his body, is what Uncle Robert said. And I know that all of you here can agree. Jesus said, "Don't be the stone, but be the cornerstone." And that's what Bengie was for our family. When I first moved out of the house, and I had nothing but an empty apartment and a great roommate, it was my brother Bengie who brought everything he could from his own house to give me something to start off with. He was always caring and looking out for others. And his daughter Gabrielle was so scared to share with him about the upcoming grandbaby. His response to her was nothing but love and grace, telling her, "We'll always be here for you." And that's exactly what he did and who he was for all of us. He always had that support. He supported his kids in everything he could. He was the dad standing on the field shouting to his son Dominic, "Go, go, go!" And he was the dad encouraging his daughter to go forward with music. And he was the dad helping his daughter drag a bunch of burritos along a parade route, stopping at every friend he knew every few feet, needed to buy a burrito. He always had his kid back. And he had my sister's back when she was backing up our parents' orange car, and apparently didn't know where the fence was. As she ripped the fence post out, our dad, who was very much not pleased, was having her work on taking that post out herself. And when Bengie got home from work, he saw and he said, "Sister, go inside and cry. I got this." And he took care of the fence post. He had my brother Josh's back at a crazy Tom Petty concert. But at the end of the night, he leaned over to Josh and said, "I brought you a grilled cheese from some yuppie." And Josh said it was the best grilled cheese he ever had. That was one of many concerts that Bengie attended. He appreciated good music. And he'd get that music jamming. He'd be playing the air drums or the air guitar on the steering wheel while he drove in the car. He also loved to dance. And he would dance across the dance floor all night long, driving. He also appreciated karaoke to a whole new level. It didn't matter if it was at a karaoke bar or in the living room just jamming some rock band. He loved having the mic in hand. And what mattered most to him was spending time with family. That's what was important to Bengie. Even if you weren't blood, if you were his friend, you were family. He knew how to make others feel welcome. Even sometimes in the stories, if he took his friends to a sketchy place with a sketchy situation, he'd look at them with a positive attitude and tell them, "It's okay, you're with us, I got you." He knew how to comfort them. Bengie also knew when to be serious. He was always able to give such good needed advice. He was always full of wisdom when he needed to be. But he also knew when to smack us around and say, "Oye, pendejo!" Bengie was a mender and a relationship builder. When some of our family had lost contact over the years, it was Bengie who was the driving force, mending those relationships and rebuilding them so they would no longer be lost. To him, life was too short to have unnecessary quarrels. He knew it was always best to forgive and to move on. In his final months, when he could only operate his wheelchair, he would have his granddaughter Araya sit on the wheelchair and go for rides up and down the sidewalk and around the block. He cherished these times as long as he was able. Even this past Thanksgiving, just a few months ago, we asked Bengie, "What do you want for Christmas this year?" He prompted his voice machine in its robotic voice to spend time with family. And that's what he got. And he wasn't just someone that would only put words to that either. He always found a way to get the next event on the calendar. He would shout at us, "Put it in the calendar. We're going. Tell those other people you're busy." Because he knew life could get too busy. And he always wanted to make sure that he set across that important time for family and friends. Bengie always liked to be prepared. He always wanted to plan ahead. Even when he was a little kid, he'd go on bike rides with our sister Paula and his cousins. And he'd grab his backpack and start packing a lunch like they were going to be gone for days. He always wanted to make sure that everything was ready. Even in the afterlife, he already had his arrangements in order. When he received the news of his illness, he started putting things in place, making sure that the family would be all taken care of when he was gone from this earth. Even with the planning of this service and the celebration that follows, we have Bengie's direction He'd already prepared a song list. He already knew who the pallbearers were going to be. And of course, he had these Raider ties. Bengie was incredible. He was very witty and resourceful. He was an avid reader, and this information gave him countless knowledge from all those books with lots of random thoughts and things that only he knew. In conversations, he'd throw out those random facts, and no one would have any clue what he was talking about. This happened all the time with his big brain. His wittiness started in childhood, when we'd be on road trips and we'd play I Spy with My Little Eye. Instead of saying something that starts with C for car or T for tree, he'd say something like H for horizon or L for lines of latitude. When we'd argue and say, those aren't things you can see, he'd say, of course they are. Just open your eyes. Bengie didn't ever see problems. He only saw opportunities. He was the fun-loving uncle that taught all the nieces and nephews to make root beer floats with Sierra Mist. Because if that's what you had, that's what worked. If they forgot a toothbrush, no worries. Wrap it in your finger in some paper towel, dip it in, brush your teeth. He always thought out of the box, and with his big brain, he even earned a nickname from the family when he was younger, Swinestein, because he was a little chubby. Even when Bengie got himself his cube car, which Barb liked to call the clown car, he was so excited about it. He'd come to us and say, look at all the cup holders I have. Everything had such a positive spin for everything that he did. Even in his errors, he found opportunity. One time, we were at a family reunion, and he happened to slur together a statement that was about the weather, saying, oh, it's cool, though it's nice. But at that time of night, it came out as, it's culo's nice. And from then on, anything that's super cool is culo's nice. His resourcefulness led him to a life where he was able to fix pretty much anything. There's countless stories of him helping others fix everything from a VCR to tables to building cabinets, installing plumbing lines. You name it, Bengie could fix it. He'd engineer some contraption that would figure it out and work it out. Bengie took pride in his work. The team he worked with at the airport, they shared that Bengie's crew was always above and beyond. They cared about the process, and this was apparent in Bengie's leadership. He also knew how to have a good time in his work. He always found ways to make things fun. Even when we were cleaning up wrapping paper from Christmas one year, he offered to pretend to be a grown-up Santa and let the kids shove all the wrapping paper in his shirt until he got so big you couldn't see him. It was fun for the kids to clean up that year. When his kids would go to visit him at the airport, they'd help him with work. They'd help him clean the bathrooms, do other odds and ends. And for the reward, he'd take them driving down the runways, let them click the buttons to flash the lights. But even when Bengie didn't know something, he sure as heck was going to try. Like the time that they were cutting down some wood, and Bengie's chainsaw was not working at all. So Barb grabbed a handsaw, and she started working faster than him. She knew something was wrong, and Bengie just wasn't going to admit it. So instead of letting him just figure it out, Barb respectfully stepped away and called her brother Timmy. He said, please come help my husband. Now Bengie would be bothered by this, even though Bengie was that call for our sister Paula. Now it was a good thing that Barb called Timmy that day, because when he got there, he said, hey Bengie, the chain's on backwards. Bengie was persistent. He was going to find a way. Even if he didn't know how he was going to get there, he was going to figure it out. On my daughter Bella's second birthday, we needed a piñata, and we really didn't have a good place to hang it. So Bengie and my dad went to the small deck of the house and figured out a contraption to put out an extension all the way across. And we had room for the piñata. They figured out a way. And Bengie, he always liked to be the piñata king. At all the family events, all the birthday parties, he was the one who would be pulling on the rope. He loved taking that up and down and getting those kids to swing and miss. He liked to play with them, giving you a challenge. Surprisingly, every swing. Even when Bengie got hit in the leg with the aluminum bat, this didn't stop him from wanting to be the piñata king. He got a rise out of those kids. Bengie knew how to encourage others, and he often did it with humor. He would say things like, "Shake the sand out. Come on, suck a fish." And one of the favorites, "Do you need Vagisil?" He could throw some punches, and he definitely did it in a fun, lighthearted way. He would sometimes communicate in movie quotes in his favorite Ben Pacheco impersonation. He did like getting a rise out of people. Even the first time I fed my brother when his arms could no longer lift up, he tried to bite my finger. And he knew how to get a rise out of our brother-in-law, Lloyd. When Lloyd got his coolest, nice new big truck, he'd say, "Lloyd, super cool truck, but you don't have a boat or a camper or jet skis, you're just hauling air." And then as you could hear his diesel truck coming up the road, he'd say, "Here comes Lloydie, hauling air." Now you need to understand, that was just Bengie's way of encouraging Lloyd. Encouraging him to take adventures. Because that's what Bengie did. He always found a new adventure. He's the reason that we booked a cruise last year. It was one of his bucket list items. And he wanted us to go with him. It was one of the most memorable trips I'll ever go on. Thank you, brother. Thank you for encouraging us to do that with each other. I think encouragement is the reason why Bengie likes sports so much. Sports were a big part of his life. Bengie loved sports in general, but he was a parent, a player, a coach, a referee. He'd been on all sides of the ball. He was passionate about soccer. He also appreciated the game of golf, because he would say it's the only sport you can drink and drive. Now, he specifically requested that everyone come to his celebration with their favorite sports team jersey. He didn't care which sport, which team, just something sports jersey. I think he loves sports so much because the camaraderie. Sports create that. It's a chance to cheer, a chance to support, a chance to uplift. And that's everything that Bengie stood for. Now, some of you may not know the reason how Bengie became a Raider fan. When he was a child and the Broncos were playing the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, our Broncos happened to get trampled that year. Now, this caused Bengie so much stress. He went into an asthma attack and had to go to the hospital. And he decided then he was done with the Broncos. He later on went to call them the Donkeys. It was an ongoing joke between our family all year long, between the Broncos and the Raiders. And it was so fitting that on our last Christmas Eve together, it was a Bronco Raider game. Now, Bengie was very patriotic. He showed his patriotism in sports. Even if we were at home, sitting in the living room during the national anthem, he told everyone, get up, get up. It's the national anthem. Bengie loved his country, and he loved the service. It his father, and his uncles, and his brother-in-law. And he was so proud of Ian when he was accepted in the Navy to follow in their footsteps. Overall, Bengie's life exemplified the example, set a testament of someone who found joy even in life's storms. The Bible tells us to find joy in all things, even when we don't see the joy. And Bengie found it. That's exactly what he did every day. This is the reason why his life was so blessed and why we were blessed to have him in ours. And may we all honor our dear brother Bengie by learning from his example of what it means to live a life of gratitude and joy. Thank you, brother, for showing us what it means to celebrate life. Rest in peace, and God bless, until we meet again.